Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Cooking with Unity. I'm your host, Maximilian Moreau, and with me is my co-host, Philip Wilson.
I'm not spam.
He is not spam, even though YouTube seems to think that he is, which is really frustrating. So hopefully his comments will actually show up this time. So
That'd be nice.
just wanted to do a quick reminder. We're doing rewards for people who donate. There's a donation button. It says support the show on the little show title.
Yeah, click it.
Yeah, we're giving away these little keychains if you donate $5 or more. If you donate $10, you get 2 of them, and one of them signed and a little certificate. And if you donate $20, you get 2 of these, and it's actually not going to look like this probably, but we have these coasters, these stone coasters. They're probably not going to be stone. We got over anxious, and evidently we don't have a good supplier for the actual plates here. So we'll probably be replacing it with some sort of glass etched Pushy Pixels coaster. It'll still be a coaster. It'll still be the same size. It'll still be awesome. I'll guarantee you that it'll be just as awesome, if not more awesome, than this one.
Equally awesome.
Equally awesome. And we're actually going to be shipping out those keychains tomorrow. I've got the letters set up to everyone that I have address information for. There's still like 4 or 5 people that I don't have address information, so I'll be sending another reminder email to those guys and gals maybe. And so anyway, without further ado, let's start the show. How do I do this again? All right.
Click buttons.
We don't need me. All right. So on the last episode, we got more boss action going on. So we've got this cool boss. He actually follows and shoots at us, and he does horrible damage to our ship, and it just looks like we're just getting owned anytime that we're getting hit by this laser. And we still don't die yet, but it's really cool. We probably can make it a little less overdone. And he actually has a pattern to his shots now. He actually fires multiple times, and the lasers look like they emit from the blasters, and then they stop emitting and fly off. So it's really cool like that. And so today we're going to be doing just more boss work. Maybe add a new boss attack. Also, we need to make it so that his pattern is right now. It kind of depends on you to kind of run into it, and so if you just stay still, you'll probably not get hit by anything. So we need to actually have him kind of sweep a pattern towards the player or something. Once he starts shooting or something, and so I'm thinking maybe do a left to right sweep or a right to left sweep once it starts firing, or maybe left right left or something. And yeah. So let's see what it would take to do something like that. You still there, Phil?
Yeah, I just can't leave any comments.
You can't leave comments.
No, just keep saying there are no comments.
Can you guys see Phil's comments? Alright, well, that's stupid.
Yeah, I don't want to just be streaming it to look at this. So.
Yeah. Alright, so Phil may not be as on the ball on the comments as normal, just because he usually relies on the interface actually working, so, and he kind of can't get into, or can you do it now?
No.
Weird.
Yeah. Oh well.
Quit Chrome and restart, I don't know. I don't know, it's probably freaking YouTube. They've been doing
I
modifications.
would think it's YouTube.
I got someone saying that the channel had like the wrong icon at one point, like a couple days ago. Like it looked like the guy from Despicable Me or something, which
that's great,
hilarious. So anyway, let's get on with the show. So let's start with let's start with making it so it doesn't spam that explosion quite so much. So what we have currently is, if we go to our lasers here, these guys have colliders, they damage player on trigger, and they spawn on trigger. And so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go ahead and look at this again. So spawn and trigger, right now we have it going on collision enter and on stay. We could probably just comment out on stay, but I kind of want it to emit while you're being hit. So let's just see how this looks real quick first, though. This will be much less dramatic. That might be what we want, actually. That's the other thing, is we kind of need an invulnerability timer, a global one for the player, because right now you can get hit by each laser twice. Maybe that's a good thing because it's a boss, it should do more damage, but it's kind of weird that that's the case. So, the main reason we were setting this up is actually for the ground to be hit too, and we ran into some problems with that last time, so we'll see if we can figure those out today. So, I'm going to put a little timer into this, so let's have it so that it does do stuff on trigger stay, but it will actually check a timer first. So we'll do a private, or public, float, cool down, that's what I'll call it. And we'll default that to 1.0f.
Oh, by the way, also, if you want to ask questions during the show, and for some reason I can't see your comment on YouTube, send it via Twitter. Twitter's good because it makes my phone vibrate.
Okay.
Send it to me, Magma
So
Lemur.
if you want to make Phil's pants vibrate,
Oh,
send him Twitters. So
yeah. Send me messages on Twitter, and I'll answer them.
So float cooldown. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna also have a private float cooldown timer. We're gonna default that to 0.0f. So now we're going to just do a if cooldown timer is less than or equal to 0, then we will do this, and then we will set the cooldown timer equal to cooldown, and then else cooldown timer plus equals time dot delta time. Let's see if this works. So it looks like I can't re-instantiate. Let's make it a really long time so that we can really see that this is working. So we're going to set the on all of these lasers here. And one more. What are we doing? We're looking at cooldown. We're going to set this to 10. Give it another run. Make sure that it actually does what we're expecting it to. So it should play like 2 particles because we'll hit 2 and then it won't work. Well, it totally worked. So obviously it's not actually working. Oh, wait, less than or equal to 0. Then we instantiate. Oh, because we still have the on trigger error, so we need to have this on both cases. So actually I'm going to set this up into a separate function. So void spawn object. And we're just going to copy this into there. And then we're going to run spawn object here. And spawn object here.
Spawn all the objects.
So hopefully this will fix the
Ooh.
Oh, call does not exist in the current context. Oh, yeah. So we'll have spawn object take a collider call. Doesn't have to be the same name. It won't hurt to be the same name. So we're just going to pass call, and it's going to be re-manipulated into the same name, and then hopefully it'll work now. Alright, there we go. So we're still taking damage before 10 seconds because our timer is actually separate of that.
But now we aren't seeing all the crazy explosions.
Yeah, so let's actually make that match the cooldown time on the damage player on trigger. So Phil, what do you think about a global cooldown for damage on the player?
I'm fine with that.
All right.
Probably a little bit more fair.
Yeah, I'm thinking that too. So we're going to actually have a little bit more functionality here. So we have, what do we have for our player health? What does damage player and trigger actually do? Health manager done instance. So we got something called the health manager. Here we go. Oh, what's going on?
Oh.
Sound. Oh, God.
Sorry. This is what happens when I can't just view all comments.
The video still has. That's such
Yeah,
a lie.
It's a
blatant lie.
Yeah. Just why I'm leaning towards the Twitter thing.
All right. So
Edgar asks, will you be using rotate towards when making the sweep animations for the lasers?
Possibly. I was actually thinking about doing another parent-child nesting and just having it just sweep on another axis type thing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll play around with it and see what we actually end up doing. But yeah, probably we may. We'll see what we do.
Yeah.
We'll see what we do. I'm not gonna say we're not gonna use it. I don't think we're going to use it, but we might. So let's put in our health manager here. So we have the health colors, max health. Let's do public float damage cooldown equals 1.0 F. And this way we won't have to change it on every single thing if we want to change the game. And it'll also make it so that if multiple things try to damage the player, it will appropriately cool down. Damage cooldown. And the other thing we want to do is create a private float damage cooldown timer.
Private float.
Yep. 0.0 F.
Needs an equal.
And needs an R as well. Alright. And for organization's sake, that's good. That's fine. So now what we want to do is on damage player we will check to see if the timer is okay. So if damage cooldown timer timer is less than or equal to 0, then we do all of this stuff.
That would make sense.
And we won't have a timer for the restoring health, so that's fine. And then we need to actually say else we want to advance the... Oh, and we also have to make sure that we set the damage cooldown timer equals damage cooldown. And then here we just do damage cooldown timer plus equals time.delta time. So what we're doing here is same thing that we were doing on the other thing, but I didn't explain it very well on the other one. We have this float. It's basically constantly advancing by time.delta time until it's minus equals. Wait, did this even work before? Plus equals.
Where is that at?
That doesn't make sense. It needs to be minus equals. How did that even work?
I wish I could tell you.
I think maybe it did it once per like object, and we just thought it had done things right.
Probably.
So, didn't do a whole lot of testing on it. So so what this means is the timer is going to be set to 0 initially, and so it'll be less than or equal to 0. And so if you get hit, if it calls something, will call damage player on this. And then it will check to see if the damage timer is appropriate. Then it'll check to see if the damage amount is appropriate, and then it will actually do the damaging thing. Finally, Damage cooldown timer. So this is actually setting the timer lower. So the timer basically gets reset to whatever the cooldown is. So 1 second in this case, and then after a second it'll be back to 0 and it'll be ready to be damaged again, in theory. So what we're gonna do now is in damage player on trigger, we don't have to worry about the cooldown thing. In cooldown, we did this a little bit differently, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Cooldown
Looks that
time.
way.
How did we actually... Oh, we did uncool. Oh, I see. We did an invoke to do it. That works.
We invoked uncool.
We did invoke uncool. So I'm going to get rid of this additional functionality here.
The amount of times I've invoked uncool is just unprecedented.
Oh, that is a good one. That is a good one. Alright, so we don't need cooldown, and we don't need cooldown time to be on the damage thing anymore because it's now handled by the health manager, in theory. So let's see if things continue to work as we want them to. So the spawning is still going to be on its own timer right now, but let's just see if the damaging works. Okay, end cooldown does not exist in the current context. We don't need that anymore. And we don't need uncool anymore.
What?
I know. We're just too cool to have uncool now.
I was so happy being uncool, though.
Alright, so we take some damage, and this time we only took damage from one of them, even though you could clearly see that the explosions, we had multiple ones. And we aren't taking damage anymore. At all. So obviously I did something wrong.
So there must be a bug somewhere.
There must be a bug. So health manager, let's see what we got going on here. Oh! That's really dumb of me. So this else statement isn't going to solve our problem because it's only called it when damaged player is called.
Oh.
And so you have to get damaged again after... that doesn't work very well. So yeah. So let's now switch this to an update loop. So we have to... Do we already have an update? We don't. So we'll make an update. Void update. And we will just do damage cooldown timer minus equals time.delta time. And that should be plenty because it'll just keep getting more and more negative, and since we're checking for less than or equal to 0, that should work just fine. So let's see if this actually does what we want it to do. Alright, bam, we took some damage. Yeah, let's make it 5 seconds so that we can
make
see
sure
if
that it's working.
So this is going to be.
You could also put a
on
print
the
in
health
there if you
manager.
really want to make sure that it's being called correctly.
That's true.
I'm a fan of the prints.
You're a fan of prints?
Well, sometimes.
Okay, that looks like it's working, and then...
She wore a
Should
raspberry
be-
beret.
Bam! There we go. Awesome. Yep, that's working.
Okay.
Put the cooldown back to 1 second. So now let's make it so when we're hitting the player... So right now we have this spawn on trigger thing, and we may still want the cooldown on this anyway, so I'm going to leave that stuff in there. But we want to actually hook that in for the player being damaged. So let's actually make it so that in the health manager we have a... how do we have this set up on the... So we have a game object. We should have a damage spawn object in the health manager. And what that means is this will now handle spawning any explosion effects or anything on the player when they get damaged.
Neato.
So let's go ahead and do public game object damage effect. And we will then in our thing here for damage health, we're going to do instantiate damage effect transform dot position transform quaternion dot identity. And let's also make it so this is... no, let's not make it optional, because we're going to want that. So now in the health manager, we should have damage effect here. So we will throw in our prefabs here. We called it enemy death, but I'm going to attach it to the player for it right now for time being. And to make sure that the other thing isn't doing anything, so these ones I'm going to temporarily disable the. Oh, I can't actually disable that one because it uses the trigger stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just remove it.
Oh man.
Or wait, no, that's not it. Spawn on trigger. That still won't disable though, right? Yeah, that's not going to actually disable it, I don't think. So I'm going to remove these.
We've created a monster, nothing can disable it.
Alright, so now we should still see our effects going. There we go, it goes once, although it's spawning at the wrong place.
Which is not so good.
And there's a reason why. It's because this is part of the health manager and not on the player. So when we tell it to spawn at our position, we're actually spawning at the health manager's position and not the player's position. So we need to actually do, so do we have player transform at any point here?
I don't think
we'll have
we do
to
there.
get that. So, transform, player, actually let's do game object. Player equals game object dot find game object with tag player, and now we will instantiate at the player
Dot transformed dot position.
Yep, dot transfer dot position. So that should fix our little exploding in the wrong place bug. So, bam, there we go. It's coming off the player now. And now the cooldown is global.
To be completely honest, I think the particle effect should be smaller, but also should be going whenever you're in the laser.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. I think it's fine to not take damage during that time, but
you think there should be a little...
yeah, some kind of effect.
Well, we want to get that effect on the ground too, so we'll do that in a separate way. We'll do that in the way that we were kind of doing it before. That's the reason I didn't delete the script entirely for the spawn on trigger thing, even though we removed it from the ship. So let's make a smaller version of that particle effect, a little bit sparkier type version. So let's look at what we got there. So prefabs, bullet, no, enemy death. So we're going to pull this into the scene to look at it, and I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to oh wait, this doesn't really matter. So stop, simulate. Okay. Oh, there it is.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Don't know why it went up there.
Reasons unknown.
So there it is. And let's make this one the player. Let's call this laser hit. And so this one we're going to make a little bit smaller. So what does it look like? So we'll reduce the number of particles. So the emission right now is 500 particles. Let's make it 100 particles.
Okay.
And let's make the start speed between 5 and 10. And so now if we simulate, it's a much smaller little effect.
It's still pretty big though, isn't it?
Well, compared to this one.
Yeah.
We'll see how it looks. We can always adjust it more
Oh
later.
yeah, absolutely. That's
So
the
I'm
great
going
part
to
about this
create
stuff.
a new prefab out of this. We're going to throw it in the prefabs folder. It's called laser hit. And we're going to delete both of these out of the scene. And now on the lasers, we're going to re-put the trigger thing. So Was it spawn on trigger?
Spawn on trigger.
It was spawn on trigger. And want the spawn object to be laser hit. And the cooldown we'll put at 0.2. Still pretty big.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's make it smaller. So, laser hit. Let's make the start speed between 1 and 5, and the start size be 0.5 for the
Yeah,
particles.
I think that's a good call.
See how that looks. It's kind of
That's
off center
off
now for some
place
reason.
for that. Or might be going to the corner of the model. Wherever the transform is, it might not be the center.
Oh,
It should be.
yeah, it's the damage point. It was harder to notice before because, so let's see what we can do to fix that. So right now, we're spawning closest point on bounds to the transformed out position. Called out closest point on bounds, transformed out position. Let's actually, instead of doing that, let's grab our health manager. I'm not sure if this is actually going to fix it, but let's give it a shot. So we'll grab our player. And then we're going to use player.transform that position here. I'm not sure if this is actually going to fix it, but we'll see what it does. So if you remember last episode, I wasn't entirely sure what they wanted in that. That looks much better.
That looks a lot better.
Yeah, that'll work.
Actually kind of like the big one to signify when you're actually getting hit.
Yeah, well, that's what it's doing.
Yeah, I think that's good. Nice visual representation that you're taking damage and sustaining damage with the small. Yeah, I like that.
All right. I'll check something here. So if we have in health manager, wait, no, damage player on trigger. Let's also add to this, now that we have a cooldown on the player, let's make it so that the player can't hide in collision. Maybe we should leave that. So right now, if you manage to continuously be colliding with something,
Yeah.
it will never get an enter message again, unless another type of thing
Oh.
collides with you.
Yeah.
Let's leave it. Let's leave it, because that way, if we have like walls that we have that are extended or something, and you fly through them, it gives you the chance to get back into the gameplay area or the other side
Yeah.
of it or something. Let's just leave it for now.
For now.
Honestly, there's a lot of games that have that quote-unquote bug. I think there's a lot of games that do it as a choice.
Yep, I think you're right.
Even Mario Brothers actually has that. Super Mario Brothers 1 has that.
Really?
If you take damage, like if you are Big Mario, and you take damage and it goes to Small Mario, and you stay within inside like a Koopa or a Goomba, you can stay inside of them for as long as they're on the screen without taking damage.
Oh, wow.
You have to actually exit their collider and then
Actually,
go back
did not
into it.
notice that.
Yeah. It's one of the many myriad bugs in, well, quote-unquote bugs, features in Super Mario Brothers. The other well-known ones are, of course, you can push through the right side of the screen. If you get stuck in blocks, it automatically advances you through blocks to the right. What else? You can like jump off of pixel boundaries for tiles, like it thinks that you're on the ground. Even if, you can basically do wall jumps in the game under certain circumstances. And
It's pretty cool.
yep. So I'm also going to make the I want to adjust that laser hit a little bit more again. Let's make it so that it's actually yellow.
I think that's a very good call. Red is the enemy color.
Well, I was thinking yellow just for the sub explosion, so that you know that it's another visual indication that you're not actually taking damage. You're just in the collider.
I like that.
So let's see what that looks like. It's like boom! Oh yeah, we're in there. It's bad.
Boom!
Boom!
Yeah, I like that.
Alright, so now let's see if we can get this thing shooting at the freaking ground and doing that right, because we had a problem with that last time. And I'd like it so that we could actually do that. I'm also going to make this plane, I'm going to move it slightly. Oops, not that direction.
You wanted to move it towards you, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm just going to move it
the screen.
400. That's too much. 450.
That's good.
So this way we'll be able to see the ground a little bit better.
Yeah, I like that. And now you can actually see exactly where it's going through the ground.
So now we need to figure out why it's not colliding with the ground.
Oh, that was what the mystery was last time.
So if we set it to not kinematic, it was doing it, right? It was like one of these really weird things.
Honestly?
Oh, God.
Oh, you're moving the ground.
No, I am, yeah.
Interesting.
Let's see. So kinematic is not an option here. Oh, yeah, I heard that was a thoughtful sigh.
It's probably because when you're moving, it's taking over the priority of the physics. Is that possible?
Yeah, I there's a lot of little gotchas on the physics system in Unity, certainly.
Because, I mean, wouldn't it either...
So we have capsule colliders called trigger. The plane is...
I'm wondering why the player isn't colliding. Is it something on the player?
Let's try a trigger on this. So now we can fly through it. Do we actually get... No, we don't.
We put a box collider on there too, right?
If we turn off is kinematic again...
Aha, the game development. The trial and error of game development.
Alright, so if we turn off is kinematic, we turn off is trigger, and we somehow get the enemy to fire at the ground without... Okay, so I'm going to cheat. I'm going to place the player... I'm going to disable the player's collision for a moment.
Alright.
So where do we have his collision?
That is a good question.
Jet model, box slider, get rid of that. I'm going to turn off his collider, hit play, and see if this works. Still not working. Or is it not working? Here, let's look at the... It's not maximize on play.
Oh. Edgar has a possible death solution. If you make the player ragdoll and then explode when the health is 0.
I like that,
cool.
actually.
I like that a lot. Just let the physics take over.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea at all.
No, it's a great idea.
So, wait, did it just do something? No. Oh, yeah, that was the laser being shot out. Remember our fancy little laser thing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, as this is just a little detail, I'm not going to spend too much more time on this. Maybe we'll solve that again later.
We'll continue thinking about
it
in the next week.
So let's put the ship collider back on. Let's leave this as kinematic. It's just so weird because it has a rigid body.
Yeah, it seems like it should be working.
I'm going to apply this real quick and save.
I'm sure there's just something little that we're missing.
Because it's working on the player, and the player's set up almost exactly the same because it's got a kinematic rigid body. Does it have some other rigid body somewhere that we don't realize? I don't think it does.
I wouldn't think so.
Ship, invert, angle change, speed. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. So the plane here has kinematic rigid body and a box collider, and the jet has box collider, kinematic rigid body, and yet it's totally working on the player and totally not working, or at least we think it's not working on the
ground. Yeah, it's really strange.
It definitely works on the player. And we're not getting rid of our enemy death stuff yet. Let's fix that real quick. So enemy death does not have a script to get rid of it. Is there some automatic deletion thing on here? Probably not. It would be too useful.
No, that would be super handy right now.
Yeah, we'll just create one. So scripts, scroll texture. Did we already make? I swear we already did this for some
I
reason.
thought so too.
Destroy after delay. Destroy particle when finished. We did make this.
Yeah, that is
But
there.
we didn't attach it, I guess.
That is odd.
So let's go ahead and put that into. So we want enemy death and laser hit to both have destroy particle and finished. Let's see if this actually works. I still see enemy death. Oh wait, no. Nope. They went away.
Yep, they did.
They just have a really long lifetime, even though they don't appear on screen for very long.
Well, you know.
That looks really cool.
It does.
I'm actually really happy with how this is turning out. So let's make it so we can shoot the boss. That's
Yeah.
kind of an important thing.
How do we want to handle that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So
I would think that you'd want each one of the lasers to be deactivated when you were shooting at it, or at least the laser quadrant, like the sections, the two sections. They should have their own independent health.
okay, we can probably do that.
Or you could have just all the laser outlets being
So let's see what we got this thing broken down into. So we can, yep, we can definitely blow up the individual turrets.
That's cool.
We probably can blow up the base, although I don't think I want to.
No.
We can blow up the individual weaponry barrels, which I think is a really good thing to have. And then the boss base shouldn't blow up until everything else is gone, I think. That'll
Yes.
be simple enough. So the boss base, we should have some sort of collision on it so that you know that you can't actually hurt it. Like in Star Fox, it actually reflected the lasers off of things when something couldn't take damage. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And so we could probably do something similar. Also play some sort of like tink sound effect. We don't have anything for sound yet in this, and we really should start working on that at some point. I'll probably just do some SFXer. I'll spend some SFXer time between episodes and get a set of sounds to work with.
SFXer is good stuff.
Yes, it is. Barrel back. What is that? Oh, sweet. We could have it spin around for more health.
Oh, that's even better.
So once you kill the 4 on the front, it'll just be like... And then it has more... Oh, well, with the other ones attached. Hold on. So these barrels need to be on the base. Continue. Apply. Our prefab's back. Yay. All right. So now if we rotate this, it'll be like...
And now you have more
Yeah.
to deal with.
That's an option.
I think that's a really valid option.
So let's get some colliders on these things. So we want the weaponry barrels. Oh, these are their own. Oh, they're not individual. They're actually...
They're all grouped?
They're all grouped.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Is there a way we can work with that just within Unity? I think we might actually have to open that up in a modeling package if we want to fix that up or change that up.
Dang.
Alright, we'll just have that be a weak point thing.
Yeah.
And we'll have them all 4 blow up at the same time or something.
Yeah.
That's what we can do for right now. So let's get some colliders on these things. So this has no collider. Let's put a collider on it. Create other... Wait, no. Physics. Box collider. And let's make it slightly larger than that. It doesn't have to be, but I like making it more fair to the players. So the Z, let's bring it out to 1. And the Y, let's bring it out to 1. There we go. So this thing, how are we going to make this not mess anything up?
That is a good question.
Because we want to make it look like it's reflecting, but we also don't want it to somehow mess up the... we'll just have it interpenetrate a little bit. So we'll put just a physics box collider here. Actually, let's look what the let's look at what the mesh collider would look like. I'm not sure if we hit play, do we get any messages about that? Nope. Okay, so it's low enough poly that we can do that. Let's make it convex. And then what we will do is... See, that completely obscures the collider that we need.
Yeah.
So let's not do that. Let's instead do a physics box collider. Replace. We can also do a compound collider, but I think this will probably work okay.
Suffice. Yeah.
So I'm just going to make this a smaller. Other Z. Make it just shy of the...
I'd say that right. Yeah, that seems about right, right?
And we need to definitely cut it down a little bit on the sides. Some of the places the lasers will go a little bit through, but it's not the end of the world. And if we want to get really fancy, we can do a compound collider later. Yeah, let's go with that. That seems decent.
Seems logical to me.
See if we can actually make it reflect off in an interesting way. Let's make colliders for these guys. So these ones can be simple box. This will be nice and clean. Box collider. Well, close to clean. And another box collider. So we need to shrink it down a little bit in the X and offset it a little bit in the X. 2 and 2 sounds good to me. And we'll do the same on here. So -2 and 2. So now we have a pretty good collision system for this thing. That looks good.
So Huge Peddler just says, I'm a few minutes behind, but would the ground collision effect be instantiating at the ground's transformed position, e.g. out of sight?
Yeah, I thought that too, but if you watch as we get shot here, you won't see this changing at all, and yet it changes a lot if we get hit by the laser. Watch, you'll see the scroll bar change. See, it's adding all those particles and stuff, and they'll eventually clean up. But when it hits the ground, it's not adding anything. You can see that it's only cleaning up when it hits the ground.
So the ground collider is actually there, though.
Oh, wait. Did I see something? No. Oh, the something I saw again was we spawn lasers when they come out. See, it goes up for just a moment there.
Yeah, but the ground collider is actually at the spot that we think it is right now, if we were to pause it. Not while we're stagnant, but like...
Here, let's look. So...
I just want to make sure that, yeah,
it looks like it.
So it's still parented properly. Dang.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
We're not using a mesh collider or anything stupid like that either. It's just...
it's just a big box collider.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that.
Oh, layer ground. We did look at this last time. I just want to make sure that we look at it again. Physics. So ground collides with default, collides with everything except for bonus,
which
including
makes sense.
itself. And the enemy. Let's see what the laser is actually set to. Layer default. So it should absolutely collide.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe, That's so weird. Because it's working on the player, and the player looks like it's set up exactly the same.
Except that, of course, its layer is player.
Yeah. Project settings, physics. So let's see what player looks like. Player collides with radar, ground, bonus.
Everything but player.
Everything but player, and it doesn't collide with player bullets either.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. Hmm. Weird. All right.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just for fun.
Yeah.
I want to set the ground to the layer of player and see what happens. Shouldn't do anything.
Oh wait, we need to change something else here too. We adjusted our laser geometry, but we didn't actually make these changes to our
To the prefab.
Yeah, the laser prefab that moves forward. And so... Oh, wait, what is it? That's what we're spawning, right? Hold on. Big boss. Spawn laser, laser. Okay. That looked like it wasn't doing a whole lot of anything.
Yeah,
oh, wait, that's because it's in here. There we go. So we want to damage player on trigger... That's what we still want. That we still want it just run invisible, and we also want our spawn on trigger script. Spawn on trigger. We do the laser hit, and we set the cooldown to 0.2. I think is what we set it to. Make sure that still works.
Looks like it's working.
Well, we missed it actually. It's only when it's coming off the screen that it counts. There we go. It worked. I saw yellow.
So just out of curiosity, if you did tag the ground collision as player, what would happen?
Alright, let's tag the ground collision as player. Player.
Interesting. Yeah, I am at a complete loss.
So weird.
We should change it back off from player now, I guess. Huh?
Huh. The player moves. Maybe... Okay, let's try something. I'm going to try something weird. I'm going to set the player in a position. And I'm going to force the boss to rotate its thing. Nope, it still hit the player. I was thinking maybe it was because the player was moving into it, not the other way around, but it seems to still be working.
I wish I knew why it was happening.
Player default player, box collider, plane, box collider. Okay, we want to put this back to ground.
Yeah. And it doesn't need a tag.
Yeah. Or are we doing it by tag? Are we doing something really dumb and I just didn't realize it? Nope, spawn on trigger doesn't require a tag.
Nope.
That's the damage player on trigger that requires a tag. Huh.
I will still have to think about it.
Alright. So let's get some damage going on the enemy. Let's work on the turrets first. So this thing has a box collider. Let's go ahead and apply, save, and maybe one more save.
Never hurts to save.
And so we want to have this thing take damage and die. So let's create a new script called
I've been shot.
So do we have a... think it's under enemy AI, don't we? No, we don't. Do we never actually get enemies dying?
No, I don't believe so.
Here, I want to check. Let's go to level 2 and see if anything still works. Alright, so we got this, and I swear, yeah.
Oh yeah, they're
we do have
dying.
enemies dying. So how did we do that? Let's see what we got on those enemies. Enemy 1. I'm surprised everything still seemed like it was working. I was not expecting that, actually.
Yeah, that kind of shocks me.
I was expecting us to have hit apply one too many times on something and completely destroyed everything. So these guys are called what? When they get spawned, they're called... Oh, they're in here.
What? Oh, they're child at the tower.
There we go. Enemy parent. So these guys have a Gibbon trigger. Okay, we don't want to do that. That's not appropriate because we want this thing to take more than one hit. So instead, let's go with let's see. What do you think we should call this script? It's going to handle, let's call it enemy health.
Okay. Sounds like a good plan.
Create C# script enemy health. So we're going to need a public float. Are we using int or float for health?
I would think we're using float.
We're using float.
That makes more sense to me.
Alright, public float health, max health equals, let's do 10.
I think that's what we did before.
.of public float current health, and we're not going to default that to, actually this is going to be private float current health, and public game object death effect, and public game object damage effect. And so we will do void on trigger enter. And we probably will want a tag or something. Public string object tag. Does it still not let you go into the...
No.
What the heck? String object tag. That's
Pretty much YouTube just hates me.
Collision tag. Call it that. We're going to default it to player bullet. Is that what it's called? We go to our prefabs. Player. Wait, no.
I'm gonna try
What
to
do we
go
call
in
it? Laser? No.
Nope. Still has no comments.
What is it that we're shooting? Bullet? Is that it?
I believe it's bullet or fancy bullet.
Fancy bullet
like
is
that.
fancy bullet. That's totally what it is. Yep. So fancy bullet has, yeah, player bullets, no space, and with an S.
Fancy bullet.
All right. On trigger enter, collider col, and we're gonna do so if col dot tag equals collision tag, then we will do yeah, let's just do it 1 damage per, although we need to figure out how to change this if we have upgrades to our weapons so that they dictate what the damage is.
Yeah.
But we'll just default it to 1 for right now. We'll do current health minus equals current health minus equals
Damage.
1.0 F. We're hardwiring it.
We don't want to make it into a
Need
variable.
to, well, because it doesn't make sense that it doesn't really make sense to make it into a variable on this script. It needs to be on the bullets themselves. It needs to add to the bullets in some way. And we're going to do current health minus equals 1.0 F. We're going to instantiate our damage effect. And we want it to be, how do we do it on spawn on trigger? Closest point on bounds to player.transform.position. Alright. We want this to be, so let's do col.transform.position. I don't know if this is going to make any sense, but we'll try it.
Yeah, never hurts.
And finally, quaternion.identity. And we also want to check to see if we need to blow it up. So if current health is less than or equal to 0, we will then instantiate the
explosion script or whatever it is.
Explosion script, which is
The boss death.
death effect. Instantiate death effect. Closest point on bound should be for this should actually be set to transformed opposition in this case, because it's on the ship, on the plane, on the thing itself.
Yeah.
And so instantiate death effect. And what do we do after that? This one will just take the transformed opposition, because it'll be blowing up from the center. Quaternion.identity. We destroy game object. And on this one, we also want to destroy the bullet so it doesn't continue to do damage later. So destroy col.gameObject. That should be our bullet.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that should be all we need for this. Let's see if all that actually works. So we don't have any script errors, I don't think. So that's good. And we're going to now attach this to our module left and module right. We're going to go into inspector, add component, damage, oh wait, no, enemy health, collision tag player bullets, death effect. We're going to use our pre-existing
Explosion.
stuff, just enemy death, bam. Damage effect, we're going to use the laser hit for right now. And max health 10 is fine. And at the start, oh yeah, we have to actually set the current health equals max health. So let's see if this does things.
All right.
So we're gonna shoot at the boss. It's taking some
doing
damage.
stuff. It's doing stuff. You're just waiting for that big explosion. If it ever happens. See that laser that just
Yeah,
kind of bounced?
That's actually funny because that works because we already have the collision thing. So it's not doing the death properly, I don't think, at this point.
Let's look at the script.
Let's go ahead, before we look at the script, let's switch this to debug and see what our current health is. It's 10.
No.
So-
Are we ever reducing the health?
I thought we were. Thought that was the first thing that we put in. Current health minus equals 1.0 F.
Yeah, it is.
Health equals max health.
No, that
Current
doesn't make
health
any sense.
is less than or equal to 0. Yeah, so why is it not actually... Let's look at this. Let's run it again. So we're going to look at the left one. Play it. Switch it to debug. And do some damage to it. Or attempt to. Current health is still 10.
Yeah, it's not doing anything to it.
Is it actually hitting it? Or is it hitting the lasers in some way or shape or form? Yeah, for some reason it's hitting the lasers. Okay, so we thought it was doing something. So let's make it so the lasers don't actually work right now. Let's just disable... Oh wait, we can't just disable the lasers. Let's get rid of the big boss controller for right now, so it's going to be really dumb again.
Oh.
Yep, okay, so that's our problem. It's not actually taking collisions. So let's see what we got for... So for our player... So, Fancy Bullet, Player Bullets, Box Collider is trigger. It's not a trigger. So, maybe these should be triggers. Let's try that. So, I'm doing on trigger enter after all. There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Whoa!
Fortunately, it is kind of offset, and I think that's because the center of these objects just happens to actually be the center. So if we look at these guys and we look at...
Yep.
Yep, it's the center. So...
We'd have to offset that with some parent.
We could just do
objects
closest
if
point
we
on
wanted
bounds
to.
again. We'll just be lazy.
Oh, okay.
Let's see how that actually looks. T-call. What the hell is a T-call?
T-call, you
Oh,
know?
it's because it's death effect. No, that's fine. Okay, whatever. So let's shoot this thing until it dies. Much better.
Still rather dumb, isn't it?
Yep. Alright, so let's put the dumb... Let's turn the dumb off.
Yeah. I don't want it to be dumb.
And we're going to shoot it, and it's dead, and the lasers stop, and then we shoot this one, and it's dead, and the lasers stop. Awesome.
I like it.
Alright. We're still trying to access it somewhere. Oh, yeah.
We should save, by the way.
Yeah, let's call it here. So we have a couple reference exception problems that happen now when we blow things up, but we'll fix that up next time. They're really obvious and really easy to fix. So I'm going to call that a wrap for tonight.
You should switch to your camera again.
All right. I'm going to switch to main plus cam. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Actually, why not? Just the face.
Oh, just the face.
Oh my god, I'm huge. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. If you have any questions, you may email me at pushypixels@pushypixels.com. You can also tweet me at Drakfire. That's DRAKFYRE. That's F as in fish in the middle there. Go.
If you want to email me, you can. It's Philip@protosoftworks.com. You can also tweet me, which I actually don't mind receiving questions during the show, which is actually going to be nice and helpful since YouTube's been stupid for me today. So yeah, send me tweets at magmalemur, MAGMALEMUR, and that's on Twitter. And go ahead and while you're here, just press that little donate button.
Yes, and we will send you rewards. We probably won't send you something that looks just like this, but we will send you something that looks just like this.
Yeah, those little keychains are cool.
Yeah. And again, those will be shipped out tomorrow for the people who have already started backing the show. So, thank you very much. Oh yeah, and buy Phil's game Robot Alone.
Yeah.
Yep, it's awesome.
It's a game.
It's a game. It's on iOS. It's a game, isn't that the
That's
the
what
prototype
that was
name?
the prototype name for it. I just called it "It's a Game" when I was.
You had to
making
get
it.
started, so call it something.
It's a game for a really long time.
My first app, Aniometer, was called Hello World, so
Well, that works as well.
So anyway, thank you very much, folks, and good night.
Have a good night.